Today on What Went Wrong, our best episode yet. Trust us.
I think I verify that.
Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made a lot of films. And I've actually taught a few people a few things as well. As a professor, I've had the experience of seeing a lot of student films, and sometimes it's difficult to watch. But sometimes they really surprise you. Sometimes my fundamental students can bring in a film that is incredibly better than some of my seniors.
Yeah.
So it runs the gambit. But today I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the problems that I see in student films.
Right.
And if you're a student yourself or just a filmmaker starting out, these are things you need to look for. And the first one being, I make no qualms about having many kudos and lots of respect to our former president Ronald Reagan, who
Yeah.
when speaking on the Russians once said, "Trust but verify."
Right.
So one of the problems that I see countless times, and it'll happen at least once in every quarter, one of the students will not have an aspect of their film done, whether it's the special effects, the scoring, the color balancing, sometimes the editing, and it always falls on somebody else. Oh, well, I gave the movie to the guy 2 months ago, and he still hasn't scored it. Or he was saying, oh, it's almost done, and it's a week away from when it's due, and he hasn't done anything on it. Same with special effects. Oh, and I just didn't check in on him, and it's like, well, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
You're the producer of this film. This is your film.
Yeah.
Everything is it's riding on your shoulders. If you fail, you fail. He doesn't fail. So when it comes up to time and you're 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, and you're not seeing any progress, and you give him more time, oh, okay, and then 1 week rolls around and it's not done, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
It's yours for not checking on him, for not maintaining, not verifying
Right.
that he was doing
Right.
what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's one of the, I guess, the big parts of leadership that I learned in school, and then of course in the military, was when you're a leader and you give a duty or a job or something to somebody to do, you have a specific timeline to give them to have this job done. By the end of the day, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, it has to be done by the end of the month, by the end of the quarter, and you have to say the job must be completed by this time, by now. But you don't just walk away and then just out of sight, out of mind. Okay, you're also going to tell them, I'm going to be checking every week. You're going to come give me an update on what's going on. If your progress is not going the way it should, we're going to talk about how you need to pick it up. If you are having trouble with something, you need to come let me know so we can figure out a plan to get it done. So the whole idea is that you need to keep checking upon your subordinates. You can't just give them a job and then walk away, and then it's magically going to happen.
I will contradict that in just one sense in terms of something that happened with the 12-in-1 project,
Right.
where it was the very first step. And it was the 12. We're going to do 12 films in a year. Mm-hmm. We're scheduling our first quarter, our first 3 films. Get me your scripts, your budgets, and your ideas, your lists by this date. I send that out. I get verified. Everybody knows. Okay, I'm going to wait until that date rolls around.
Right.
But that's really sort of a check.
That's different because you're not a leader giving it to subordinates to get something done. You're not a producer giving it as normally would be done. You're basically saying, all right, if you want to be part of this world, if you want to be part of this team, this project, you're going to have to prove to me.
It's the first step. It's the
first
application.
Yeah, you need to, this is your job application basically, and I get that. As I was talking about it, it's basically we're in this organization. This is how it was in the military, like I said. To turn that into how the film student should be doing it, they get this film project. I don't know how you do your project. But let's just say it's the first day of the semester, and your project's due whatever December. I don't know what it is. 12 weeks, let's say. And so the guy needs to come up. Okay, so we're gonna start filming next week. This week we're gonna get stuff. Next week and supplies and places. Next week we're gonna do the film. We're gonna do 2 weeks for filming. I don't know.
Yeah, because we have checkpoints in the
Right.
like the senior project. You
Right.
have to have this done by this point. You have to have this done by this point.
And that's the thing. And so then your student has, once it's in the can, he's got, I don't know, let's say 8 weeks. Well, he's going to go to the guy who's going to score. I was like, all right, score man. That's his name, Bill Scoreman. And Bill, I need you to get this score to me in 2 weeks. And I'm going to come find you in a week. And he goes back to us, says, all right, Bill, what do you got? Oh, I ain't got anything. What? All right, Bill, I'm going to give you like 3 days. Because it's supposed to be done in a week. I'm going to give you 3 days to get me something. And in 3 days, if Bill doesn't have anything, sorry, Bill. And you go to the next guy. And he says, this is going to be done. And unfortunately, now I've only got, like a week to get it done. And you need to have your backups and what you're going to do. If Bill can't do it, then, Bob, music writer. I was like, all right, Bob, and Bill this shit up. Can you do, all right, and Bob, can you do something? And so that way you've avoided being a week out of the project and nothing's been done, and so you go to, Joe Soundbite. Okay, you're my sound guy. So Joe, I need this, I need that, the sound effects. Or Roger, in a week I'm gonna be, hey Joe, I got half of it done. All right, good job, Joe. You got another week, and boom, and get Joe's got his squared away, and Bob's got the score working. And you've gone to his house. It's got some pretty good stuff. I was like, but it's gonna take me like another week and change. I was, well, hurry up here, Bob. I got, and so you go and you check on these people. You trust them to do their job, okay? But you can't just leave them to it and then think it, and then a week before your project is due or your job is whatever it is, to think it's just going to magically come together. You got to keep on these assholes, okay? Because it's not that they're bad people. It happens. Family gets in the way. Stuff happens. We talked about that. One of the other ones, people you can trust. People, why don't you trust me? Kind of stuff, And the idea is that you need to check on these guys to make sure they're doing the job, because at the end of the day, whether it's making your film for your film school, or whether it's doing a project for some business, or delivering supplies for medical whatever, or anything you have to do. There's projects, there's things, there's jobs, there's whatever you have to do. And a house has to be built, has to be done in the frame, and then the insides, and then the plumbing, and then this, that, and the other thing. You got to be able to get it all together, because at some point someone wants to buy the motherfucker and then move into it. Well, you can't have them show up a week before and go, yeah, no plumbing yet, but Bob's working on it. I was like, are you kidding me? There's hundreds of thousands of dollars in this project, and you're telling me there's no what? And so you screw everything else up. You have to make sure that you're on top of your people, not literally. To make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it. And that's your job to do. Yeah. You're the producer. You're the creator. This is your baby. You got to make sure you're doing what you need to do and doing your due diligence to get it right.
And with that in mind, going on to another point is one of the things that a lot of students do is I always, at the end of a class, I'm always, how's your project going? Anybody have any problems, issues, things that I can help you with? We can talk to the whole class, see if there's any issues that running into any problems. Crickets.
Not crickets, yeah.
Until that last week or the day that it's due.
Yeah.
Oh, I had this problem. I had that problem. I didn't know how to do this.
Mother.
Speak up.
Yeah.
Say you've got a problem. We will help you figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
By the time it's due, that due date,
it's too late.
It's too late. I'm done. I can't help you. You've had this project. But if you can't tell me you're having problems and you're saying, hey, everything is great. How's the score going? He's working on it. It's looking great. Hey, how's the sound effects? Oh, sound effects? That's over this guy. Oh, how about how about the editing? I'm handling that myself. It's this. And you're saying everything's fine, and I'm going through that checklist, and then you're having problems, but you're not saying anything.
What do you want from me?
Yeah. And then some of them will try to turn it around on you and say, "Hey, well, you should have been more on me." No,
honey, that's not. Well, that's because they've got the little helicopter parents who they're used to mommy and daddy sucking their. That's not how it works in the real world. We don't give a because if you can't do the job, I'm gonna fire you and find someone else who can. Because guess what, princess? You're not the only job in town. You ain't the only motherfucker that can do this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I guess one of the hard things it is for some kids to realize is you're really not that special, Bill. You know, we like you. You're a nice guy, but unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, you're not that big of a deal.
You're not special until you've proved it.
Yeah.
You know, once you start saying, when people start talking about you and going, wow, this guy can do something that nobody else can.
Right.
Now you're special.
Yeah.
But still, there's somebody out there that can do it better than you.
Yeah, there's
Somebody
always someone.
somewhere.
There's always someone better than you.
Yeah.
And in a world like filmmaking, when there's so few people at the ziggurat, I mean, seriously, what do you? You know, you have to prove that you're special. They're not just going to go out and say, okay, you, and you. No. You have to be able to stand on the top of the mountain and fight and claw your way up there. And the way you do that is not by coming at the last minute and going, oh, well, they did that, and you're supposed to be on thing. And, No, you are the one responsible for your destiny at that point. And if you can't handle that, maybe this isn't the job for you. If you can't handle taking care of yourself without mommy and daddy sucking your balls, maybe you shouldn't be doing this job. Because in film, no one's going to give a if you fail. Because if you fail, the next guy gets to step up and take his shot. So if you don't know how to do something as simple as put a project together, this is your year one students, as they start off doing this stuff?
Both. Yeah, I have a senior project, which is their capstone, which they have 3 quarters to complete.
Oh my God.
The first quarter is pre-production, second quarter is production, and then post-production.
Okay.
Fundamentals, they just have like 3 weeks to put a short film together.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we used to do that in high school.
Yeah. Well, but then that comes down to another thing is and our last little thing that I'm going to talk about with mistakes that they make is giving up or not caring.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get a great film in, and then sometimes I can see something, you just threw this together in a weekend.
Yeah.
But this was an actual intermediate class project. Somebody had brought me their dash cam footage from their apartment to the school that day. And I'm like, what's this? Where's the conflict? Well, there was traffic.
Wow.
And I was like, no, this fails.
Yeah.
Where was it? You just didn't do a project.
Yeah.
You realized, oh, today's the day it's due, plugged in your camera and drove to school. Really? Did you really think that was that pisses me off more.
Yeah.
Than you saying, I just couldn't get it together. I didn't do it. Rather than try and pass this off on me.
Yeah.
And there's other times where they'll admit at the end, yeah, we just ran out of time. We didn't know what we were doing. We weren't organized. So everybody just came over and we just bullshit for 30 minutes and just videotaped it. And we just improvised this scene. And that's and what do you think that does to your reputation?
Right.
How do you think the professor feels
Yeah.
about you at that point?
Yeah.
They're not hurt. They're not hurt. I'm
Yeah.
not hurt because you completely ignored my. I have no respect for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't even try. Why should you have any sympathy for me? Why should I care?
Yeah.
And they don't care. That's the problem.
Yeah.
When it's just a grade. Do you know how many jobs I got on reels that I made in college? Because I made it my first job. I had to get, I got because I had my reel from college.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah. It's some pretty cool though in college. You
No,
did some pretty cool stuff. The Murphy's Law was badass.
That was
as it
fun.
was. That was
That
funny.
I guess it boils down to just not taking responsibility for their own actions.
Which is something that's indicative of a lot of people.
Yeah.
In the world, they just don't want to take responsibility for their own whatever. And once again, I don't want to pick on this latest generation, but I've seen that a lot from these people that they just don't. They've never had to answer for their own, I guess, crimes, as it were. They've never had to answer for their failures. They never had to really deal with anything because mommy and daddy were always there to, kiss their little butt and don't worry about it. Where you've got these guys now who, mommy and daddy are no longer there. And
It's heartbreaking to know that our generation is the one that raised them.
I didn't raise them.
Yeah.
If I'd have raised a little mother, I'd be conquering the world right now. But one of the things is that you had a lot. Well, of course, a lot of people I knew from school. I can see how they're just raising heads like that because they were dumb motherfuckers as it was. They were just too scared to up because failure was not rewarded.
Yeah.
Failure was, especially in Kingwood, if you failed, just come home with your shield or on it. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as failure. But that not being that not being the thing. So many times I've seen where they just don't care because they've never had to. And all of a sudden, talking to your film students, all of a sudden you're going to find there comes a point in time when all you've got is you. I mean, you could be living in your mom and dad's, I say basement, we don't have basements in Texas. You can be living in the back bedroom of your mom and dad's house if you want. That's cool. I know lots of people that are failures like that too. Go ahead and do that. I don't care. You know, I
More
did
opportunity for me.
more opportunity for me. I did my work. I worked my ass off to get where I am, and I'm making a pretty good chunk of change now because I busted my ass. If you don't want to bust your ass and you don't want to make money, that's fine with me. More for me. But if you don't understand that the way you succeed is by busting your ass, and if you need help, get help. I'm not saying you have to do it all on your own. Oh my God, are you crazy? Don't do it all on your own. You're insane. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs a leg up. And I'm pretty sure you're going to find, especially in the world I'm in, the world you're in, if you need some help, just hey, I need to, can you help me with I'm trying to figure out a thing and doing stuff. I have guys call me
Especially
up.
as the professor. That's my job.
That's your job. I have guys all the time calling me up asking me for advice on certain things or asking certain questions. You as the professor, when you say, hey, does anyone need any help? This would be the time to ask, you geniuses. This would be the time to go, yeah, I don't know what the I'm doing. Because that would be me. That would be me in class. I'm like, yeah, I haven't got a clue.
And there have been times, where I've watched a student in my senior class, and I'm like, how the did you get here? You don't know how to turn a camera on. How did you get here?
That'd be me.
So what I do is I schedule time with him. Here's a senior. And I've got to go back to my fundamentals class and teach him. And I will take that time. Come in on Thursday, 7 to 10. I will sit you down and I will cram your head full of information.
Yeah.
And I will come in on a day that I'm not getting paid and help you through.
Yeah.
And start and cram as much information in as I can.
As a teacher, and that's why I can say that's why you're a good professor. It's not why you're a good professor. That is a mark of a good professor, but wanting to teach. Your goal is to make them succeed, to help them succeed in the very best way that you're able. I mean, as a teacher, as a professor, as a leader, your job is to make your subordinates look good. Because the better they look, the better you look. And that is paramount as a producer, as a maker, as a filmmaker, whatever, to be able to do that. You can't succeed otherwise.
So to wrap up, if you're a student, there are three basic things: trust but verify. Make sure that the project's going on time. Mm-hmm. If you have a question or a problem, ask it or address it, and give it.